Mga kapuso, kasama pa rin natin sa Senado, si Joseph Moro. Joseph!
Nakikinig ko na si Pia.
Go ahead, Joseph!
Hi, Pia. Okay, so naghimay tayo. Naghimay tayo. Medyo matagal-tagal itong ginawa nilang paghimay ng testimonya. Itong si Attorney Roderick Wamil na nag-audit ng funds, no, OVP funds and DepEd funds ng 2022-2023. Now, before we ended, si Attorney Kapunan tried to slip characterization of the spending, alleged spending ng Vice President ng kanyang confidential fund. And she tried to call it in front of the court na scam. Pero syempre, mabilis yung defense and sabi niya, strike out. Wag ipasok yun. Pinagbigyan naman siya ng korte. So yung description na scam, although nasabi ni Attorney Kapunan, ay hindi papasok yan bilang characterization ng paggasta ng Office of the Vice President, ng Vice President sa kanyang OVP and DepEd funds. Ang pumasok ay ito. Nakinig mo, yung bongga kaday. So, the way si Attorney Kapunan, to wrap up yung naging testimonya nitong si Attorney Mawil, ay dinescribe niya yung ginawang paggastos sa confidential funds ng BP. Irregular, hindi pangkaraniwan, unnecessary, hindi kailangan, excessive, lavish, extravagant, maluho, o sabi niya, bongga kaday, at unconsignable or kasuklam-suklam. Ano tong pondo na pinag-uusapan natin, Pia? This is at least 29 million pesos na unsupported by proper receipts, no? Based on the joint memorandum circular ng Commission on Audit. Ang sabi dati, paano ba ginagastos ang confidential funds? Confidential funds yan, ba't mo papakita kung saan ginastos yan at para kanino yan, sino mga binayaran yan? Well, according to the JMC, or Joint Memorandum Circular, ay may mga tatlong patakaran, at least, no, na batayan para masabi na proper yung paggamit. Number one, dapat yan ay aprobado ng head of agency. Number two, documented success. Ibig sabihin, yung pinagkagastusan ng confidential funds, may produkto. Kumbaga, kung intelligence information yan, may nakuha na intelligence information, at yung intelligence information ay may na-prevent na gawain. Third, directly related to the agency. Dapat, yung confidential funds and the activities ay may kinalaman sa Department of Education o kaya naman ay sa Office of the Vice President. Two sets of funds, Office of the Vice President and DepEd. So OVP nag-issue ng dalawang audit observation memo. Ito yung first stage ng memo na binibigay ng Commission on Audit sa mga agency pag meron silang nakikita na medyo questionable na mga transactions. So dalawang AOMs yan. Sa DepEd naman, merong isa na inilabas itong si Wamil noong February. Alin yung mga questionable expenditures? Let's go first to the DepEd, the OVP. So yan, merong mga sinasabi na may 12 and 15 million, so 27 yan. 27 million na questionable expenses during the first and second quarter of the OVP. Meron yan na bakit gumastos ng 82 million para sa mga medical and food supplies nang walang documentation, 20 million for traveling, wala rin mga resibo. At sa DepEd naman, ayan, ito na yung mga activities na ginawa ng DepEd. But when you try to decipher and observe yung mga questions nitong si Attorney Kapunan, lalabas doon sa kanyang question, teka, ito ba ay mga activity na ginagawa ng Department of Education? Ano yung mga yan? Surveillance for anti-illegal activities operation. Sabi pa niya, peace and order within the department. Sabi niya, tama ba yung basa ko? Sa loob ng department, hindi sa buong bansa. So these are the supposed na mga activities, confidential activities ng DepEd na may pinagagastusan na hindi daw dapat at hindi sumusunod sa joint memorandum. So again, dalawang AOMs, audit memos for OVP, isa for DepEd, for a total of around 29 million pesos of questionable expenditures as far as the confidential funds of the Vice President is concerned. So tapos na tayo sa direct. We're going now to the cross after ng lunch break. Ibig sabihin is the chance of the defense to question yung mga documents ng hawak, periods that are covered, and yung mga position ng prosecution PIA. So wala pa, I think, si PIA. So sa pagpapatuloy po ng kanina, no, ng direct examination nitong si Attorney Wamil, ay si Attorney Wamil po ay yung nag-audit ng dalawang pondo, no, ng dalawang opisina, yung DepEd and Commission on Audit. Just some of the highlights of the testimony of Attorney Wamil. Ang sabi ay itong si Attorney Wamil ay nag-issue nga ng mga AOM, ibig sabihin, first of many steps. So ang AOM, binibigyan sila ng pagkakataon, yung mga agency, na pag merong naobserbahan, yung Commission on Audit, ay may chance pa na ipaliwanag. Kung walang documents, hihingi ng documents. Kung walang resibo, hihinga ng resibo. Yun yung preliminary, kumbaga, medyo hindi pa yan delikado, yung mga AOM. Second, is notice of, there's a sequence no, before the notice of disallowance. Pag nandun ka na sa notice of suspension and then notice of disallowance. Pag disallowance, pag yun ay narating nyo, ipababalik na yung pera. But as things stand now, based on the testimony of Attorney Wamil, nandun pa lang tayo sa stage na tingin na question and may chance pa at that time, February, to submit yung mga documents. Now, towards the end of the testimony of Attorney Wamil, ay sinabi niya na nung nag-issue siya ng AOM, ay may pagkakataon na ipinatawag siya sa isang meeting noong September 2023 at kasama dyan sa mga sa meeting na yan, ay itong si Office of the Vice President, Chief of Staff, Attorney Zuleika Lopez, itong si Attorney Michael Powa, who is part of the DepEd and the OVP, yung boss niya sa COA, itong si Assistant Commissioner Attorney Nilda Plaras, and may isa pang taga-COA. Bakit siya ipinatawag sa meeting na yon? Ang sabi, according to Attorney Wamil, ay tinatanong nitong si Attorney Lopez and si Attorney Powa na kung pwede ba na wag muna tayong mag-AOM. Ang gawin natin ay mag-issue tayo ng audit query. Ngayon, ang sabi ni Attorney Wamil, yung audit query, hindi yan nakalagay doon sa Joint Memorandum Circular. Kaya, ang sabi ng COA, mag-issue pa rin ng AOM, which is what they did. At pagkatapos nga na mag-issue ng AOM ng COA sa agency, sa DepEd, ay nagkaroon bigla meron ng isinumite na bagong accomplishment report yung DepEd. So just as a matter of a bird's overview, first witness ng prosecution, itong si Attorney Wamil, para maipakita at masagot yung tanong, paano ba ginastos yung confidential funds ng Vice President nung nasa DepEd siya at yung OVP. Ang amounts po na pinag-uusapan natin ay 500 million for the OVP and 112.5 million for the DepEd. Napakita na ng prosecution yung nag-withdraw o nilabas. At based on the disbursement voucher, ay naipakita na pinirmahan yan ni Vice President Sara Duterte bilang concurrently Vice President at Department of Education Secretary. At bago nga magtapos at mag-break for lunch break, itong Senate Impeachment Court, tinanong itong si Attorney Wamil na based on the JMC, kapag hindi napatunayan or kapag napatunayan na hindi tama yung pag-liquidate sa mga pondo tulad ng confidential funds, for example, ng isang actionable officer or yung dapat na officer na managot doon sa paggastos ng pondo na yon, yung accountable officer, pag hindi na ipakita ng accountable officer na nagamit ng wasto ang pera, merong prima facie. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng tingnan na yung confidential funds ay ginamit for personal use. So yan yung in-underscore ng prosecution through the private prosecutor, Attorney Kapunan, na in all of these expenditures, kung merong hindi wastong paggamit at walang proper liquidation, hindi tama ang liquidation, ang assumption ng batas, Joint Memorandum Circular, ay ginamit for personal use ang pondo na pinag-uusapan natin dito. But of course, to be fair, ang sinasabi before ng Defense Department dun sa kanilang sagot sa Senate or answer dun sa Senate Impeachment Court ay wala namang allegation na nakinabang itong si Vice President Duterte dun sa mga pondo ng confidential funds. Dun, kung ang titingnan ay yung articles of impeachment na isinumite ng prosecution. Ang pinakita niyo dyan, okay, may mga expenditures dito, pero hindi niyo sinabi na pumunta sa pitaka nitong si Vice President Duterte yung mga pera na yan. So Pia, dyan tayo natapos. Kanina, nagpasantabi itong si Attorney Kapunan kay Michael Poa na sabi niya, hindi mo nakikita, hindi mo kilala si Attorney Poa. Ayan, nasa harap mo. But of course, sabi niya, pasensya na, pampagising lang. Kasi it's medyo mahipid, no? Mabusisi itong ginawa nila for the documents na hawak nitong si Attorney Wamil.
Actually, Joseph,
buhay pa tayo.
Oh. Actually, Joseph, yun sana yung gusto kong pag-usapan, kung pwede natin pag-usapan, yung pagbanggit kay Attorney Michael Poa. Di ba sinabi ni Ginoong Wamil na nagkaroon kasi ng meeting nagkaroon ng pagpupulong. Joseph, naririnig mo ako, Joseph?
So mamaya may isa pang taga-COA. Ito naman, si Sailin isang taga-COA, no? Si Sailin yan. Yaan naman yung incumbent na taga-ICFAO, taga-Intelligence and Confidential Funds Audit Office na humalili dito kay Attorney Mawil. Natapos tayo sa pagtatanong na anong mga nangyari doon sa mga audit observation ng in-issue nitong si Wamil sa DepEd and sa OVP. Remember, sabi ko kanina, may 3 stages, no? Yung memorandum na ini-issue ng COA. AOM, Notice of Suspension, Notice of Disallowance. So nasa AOM tayo based on the testimony of Attorney Mawil. So nandito pa rin po tayo sa article on the misuse and misappropriation of confidential funds. So mamaya ay pagkakataon naman ng depensa na kumbaga busisiin itong mga testimonya ni Attorney Wamil. At nasan si Pia? It's out. Pia?
Yes, Joseph. Alright, narinig mo ako ngayon, Joseph? Alright, mamaya babalikan po natin si Joseph dahil gaya po ng sinabi ni Joseph Morong, no, ang kasalukuyan nga pong nakabreak ang impeachment trial hanggang 1:15 po yan ng hapon. Ito po ang lunch break ng mga presiding judge, pati na rin syempre ng kapwa prosekusyon at ng depensa, pati na rin po ng testigo. At sa pagbabalik po nila mula sa kanilang break ay ipagpapatuloy na ang cross-examination naman sa testigo na si Ginoong Wamil from the COA ICFAO. Pero mga kapuso, wala pong bitiwan ang ating pagtutok sa The Vice President on Trial. Tuloy-tuloy rin po dito ang ating live streaming sa YouTube page na youtube.com/@GMA News at sa ating Facebook page na facebook.com/GMA News. So ang lunch break po ngayon ng impeachment court hanggang 1:15 po yan ng hapon at katatapos-tapos lang ng direct examination ng prosekusyon kay dating COA ICFAO Auditor Roderick Wamil. At ngayon mga kapuso, nakasama natin via video conferencing si Professor Michael Q. Jr. ng UP College of Law. Magandang hapon po, Professor Q.
Magandang hapon, Pia, at sa lahat ng mga nanonood.
Professor, gusto ko sana pag-usapan yung dun sa bandang dulo muna ng naging direct examination ni Attorney Kapunan kay Ginoong Wamil. Yung pagbanggit niya kay Attorney Michael Poa, who is actually defense counsel. Siya nga ang nakatayo ngayon for the defense. Kasi ang lumabas sa testimonya ni Ginoong Wamil ay nagkaroon ng meeting kung saan, o isang pagpupulong noon kung saan pinatawag siya ng mga opisyal ng Office of the Vice President, ng DepEd, nandun daw si Attorney Zulaika Lopez at pati si Attorney Michael Poa. Ang tanong ko, Professor, ang pagkakabanggit kay Attorney Michael Poa sa testimonya ni Ginoong Wamil, paano nito maapektuhan ang cross-examination? Pwede pa rin ba na si Attorney Poa ang magsagawa ng cross-examination? Gayong personal siyang binanggit hindi ba magkakaroon ng kumbaga parang personal conflict of interest dito?
Sa tingin ko hindi naman kasi before siya naging defense counsel ay part naman talaga siya ng staff ng Office of the Vice President. No, in fact, I think Pia kaya nga siya siguro ang nilagay dito sa witness na ito kasi we assume na mas madali niyang mag-verify or mahuhuli kung meron mang detalye na hindi tama o mali ang nasabi ang witness, particularly sa meeting na iyan kasi participant din siya. So, wala namang sa tingin ko conflict of interest kasi ang kanya namang trabaho dito ay i-elicit nga yung impormasyon or i-test yung kredibilidad ng witness na ito. No? Of course, may pagkakataon ang prosecution na mag-object kapag ang questions niya ay improper na.
So pero pag ganito pag dumating na sa punto ng cross-examination, Professor Tew, how do you ensure na yung questions ay kumbaga parang hindi magkakaroon ng conclusions of law? Kasi yun yung laging point of contention, diba, ng dalawang panig that sometimes conclusions of law are made already by both either the prosecutor or the counsel for defense. So how do you ensure na hindi magkakaroon ng conclusions of law if si Attorney Poa yung nagtatanong and he was supposedly present at a meeting with Mr. Wamil?
Right. So I think one of the goals talaga of cross-examination is magpresenta ng mga alternatibo, no. So kanina narinig natin yung depensa na nagsasabi na or nag-o-object kapag nag-call ng conclusion of law yung tanong mula sa witness. Ang goal nila dito ay ipakita din na hindi lang yun yung pwedeng konklusyon doon sa mga nabanggit o sa testimonya ng witnesses. Maaaring may ibang pwedeng mong isipin pagkatapos ang lahat ng iyan, no, may mga irregularities or deficiency sa document. Ang pusang dulo ng proseso na iyan ay hindi lamang halimbawa yung tinry ng prosecution na masabi ng witness na may presumption or may prima facie evidence na gamit for private gain ang pera na iyan. So ang role dito ng defense ay hindi mag-elicit ng conclusion of law pero magpresenta, itatanong niya sa witness, posible ba na ito din ang kahihinatnan ng mga irregularities na yan? Posible ba na ito ang sitwasyon? So hindi sila mag-establish ng conclusion of law but they will present alternative conclusions.
Gano'n kaya para sa inyo, no, Professor Tew, gano'n ka-importante or ano yung implikasyon ng pagbanggit dito sa supposed pagpupulong sa pagitan ng ilang opisyal ng OVP or ng DepEd kasama ang mga auditors from the COA? Parang ang pinupunto ba dito ng prosecution parang ang pagkakaroon ng isang pagpupulong in itself ay isa ng irregularidad on the part of the OVP?
Yes, no, I think nakikita natin kung ano ang gustong ipakita ng prosecution dito, which is na tinry nilang pagmitingan o tinry nilang makita kung meron pa bang magagawa para hindi humantong doon sa paglalabas ng audit observation memo, no? Kasi nga ang nangyari sa pagpupulong na yon according to the witness is kung pwede bang audit query na lang at hindi AOM, kasi yung AOM parang meron na siyang conclusions, meron ng some sort of finality doon sa findings, whereas yung audit query from the name itself parang nagtatanong pa lang, nagpapa-clarify pa lang ang COA, no? So I think significant iyan to show the point na nabahala siguro ang OVP or tinrato nila ito na sobrang seryoso enough na mag-meeting sila kung ano pa ang pwedeng magawa doon sa mga deficiencies nila at kung pwede pang quote-unquote marimedyo ang sitwasyon bago makapag-issue ng findings ang COA. Sinabi naman ng witness kanina ni Attorney Wamil na lagi namang ginagawa yan ng mga national government agencies, no, na papaklarify sila doon sa proseso ng confidential funds. Pero ang hindi niya sinabi, and which is I think what's new in this meeting, is itong OVP ang naghingi ng posibleng audit query lamang at hindi AOM.
So para malinaw, Professor Tew, the fact or yung pagpupulong mismo, hindi yon irregularidad na humingi, mag-request ng isang pagpupulong. Ang ipinupunto dito is yung fact na humingi sila na kung pwedeng audit query na lamang, yun yung medyo may irregularidad ng konti.
Yes, kasi wala talagang audit query doon sa Joint Memorandum Circular, no? So kung makikita mo, nag-stick yung COA doon at makikita mo na parang naghihingi ng pagkakataon na remedyohan ang sitwasyon.
Pero ang sabi po kanina ni Ginoong Wamil sa kanyang testimonya, pagkatapos daw ng pagpupulong ay nagbigay sila. Actually, after nilang mag-issue, di ba, sabi niya, after this, nag-issue pa rin sila ng AOM. Tapos sinubukan nilang iserve pero may gustong tumanggap dahil wala raw pwedeng tumanggap nung sinubukan nilang iserve yung AOM. Pero ang sabi niya, after this, nagbigay daw ng revised accomplishment report yung tanggapan ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Kapag ba nagbigay ng revised accomplishment report, sapat ba dapat ito for the COA to revise or retract ang previous AOM?
Hindi. Kasi kung hindi pa rin napapaliwanag ng bagong accomplishment reports yung mga kakulangan doon sa unang submission, hindi pa rin niya mababago yung konklusyon ng AOM. Isa siguro sa mga pwede nating tingnan or isipin sa nangyari na yan is kasi para sa akin bilang observer, no, nakikinig sa testimony, parang malabo sa akin na walang nagre-receive na tao sa Office of the Vice President, bilang araw-araw hundreds if not thousands ang nare-receive nila na communications. No, so laging dapat may nagre-receive dyan. So kung titingnan mo yung tono ng testimony at mga tanong, ang napapakita niyan sa atin ay hindi inireceive yung AOM para walang finality yon, no? Masasabi nila na hindi nila natanggap yung AOM at makapag-submit pa sila ng documents na maaari pang makapagpuno o makapag-supplement doon sa mga unang sinabi na nakulang na documents.
Pwede ba natin i-clarify lang, Professor Tew, na in normal circumstances, no, sa pangkaraniwan ba, kapag nagbigay na ng AOM or nag-issue na ng AOM ang COA sa kahit anong ahensya ng gobyerno, pwede nga ba talagang magsumiti pa ng revised accomplishment report in order for the previous AOM to be retracted or overridden?
Yes, pwede pang submit ng documents for the AOM. Yung hindi ka pwedeng mag-submit ay yung at the point of the notice of disallowance, no? Kasi yun sa puntong yun pinababalik na talaga ang pera sa inyo or pwede kang mag-apila. Pero yes, you can supplement the AOM with or explain further after the AOM. Pero in this case, the first AOM will already stand. No, meron ka ng finding na may kakulangan nga. So whatever you might do, anumang bagong dokumento na isubmit mo, hindi niya i-revise yung unang na-issue na AOM. Ang posibleng gawin ng COA is mag-issue ng panibagong AOM or perhaps update the AOM to reflect na may bagong submissions at maaring na-explain yung mga kakulangan, at least some of them.
Okay. So, kasi parang, di ba, ang in-explain kanina ni Attorney Wamil o ni Ginoong Wamil, parang step-by-step process yan. Di po ba? Una yung AOM, tapos may chance to explain. Tapos kung hindi sapat yung explanation, tsaka magbibigay ng notice of suspension. After ng notice of suspension, Professor Tew, pwede pa may isa pang pagkakataon na magpaliwanag bago mabigyan ng notice of disallowance?
Yes, kasi yung sa notice of suspension, nanghihingi pa rin ulit sila na ang mga justification or documents. So kaya siya temporary lamang na disallowance, no, kasi meron pa talagang pagkakataon na ma-lift yung temporary disallowance. Doon na talaga sa panahon ng notice of disallowance, yun na yung huling stage ng proseso na ito na wala nang pagkakataong magpaliwanag sa at least sa audit officer at sa kanyang supervisor, no, ang kailangan mo na lang gawin ay magbayad o sa uli ang pera or iapila doon sa buong komisyon yung desisyon na yan.
Tapos ang paliwanag kanina, Professor, ni Ginoong Wamil or ni Attorney Wamil, ang sabi niya is, failure to submit sufficient explanation is actually prima facie evidence that the funds were used for personal funds or for the personal gain of the accountable officer. Tapos tinanong ni Attorney Kapunan kung maituturing bang accountable officer dito si Vice President Sara Duterte. Ang sabi ni Ginoong Wamil is, yes, maituturing siyang accountable officer. Pero yung pagiging accountable officer po ba ay by virtue of the fact na siya ay nakapirma dun sa dokumento or dahil siya ay head of agency or pareho po?
Pareho. Pareho. Lalong-lalo na sa Office of the Vice President na ang staff naman niya ay staff mismo ng Vice President. Wala nang ibang officer dyan sa Office of the Vice President. Siya lang. Masasabi mo pa siguro na may kaibahan yung sa DepEd kasi kahit ang pinuno ang DepEd, ang pinaka-pinuno naman talaga ng government agency ay ang presidente, no? Pero in this case, ang pinuno ng DepEd ay ang secretary. Pero meron siyang mga actual officers below the secretary, mga undersecretary, may mga assistant secretary, etc. Pero sa Office of the Vice President, yun lang, siya lang ang officer dyan na accountable talaga. Yung lahat ng yan, personal staff niya, pero it's only the Vice President. So by virtue of, and that's also the reason why siya yung pinakahuling pumipirma sa mga dokumento na yan. Kaya ang sa kanya ay approved by, no, kasi siya talaga yung accountable officer sa opisina na iyan.
Mabilis lang po, Professor Tew. Kasama rin po ba sa accountable officers yung ibang nakapirma?
Yes. So they will ultimately the accountable officer is the head of office, pero kung ang question ay accountable sila in the sense na liable sila, for example, then they could also be liable.
Alright, Professor Tew, babalikan po natin ang ating diskusyon mamaya. Ngayon po makikibalita muna tayo kay Joseph Morong. Joseph!
Hi, Pia. Okay, so mukhang tapos na tayo doon sa direct examination nitong si Attorney Roderick Wamil at pagkakataon na mamaya when we resume na makapag-cross-examination ang defense. No? Ang tanong kasi ay paano ba ginagastos ang confidential funds? Confidential funds yan, dapat ba maipakita na tama bang ipakita kung kanino pinagbibigay itong mga pera na to? Well, according to the Joint Memorandum Circular, meron at least 3 na dapat sundin yun ng mga ahensya, no, based on the GMC. Number 1, and this is related to your discussion with Attorney Michael, na dapat approved yan ng head of agency. That's number 1. Number 2, documented success. Ibig sabihin yung perang ginamit ay may produkto, may outcome, may success. Number 3, directly related to agency. So may kinalaman yung mga aktibidad na confidential dun sa opisina. For example, Department of Education and the Office of the Vice President. Just to sum up yung kanina nangyari, according to Attorney Mawil, there are 2 AOM. Audit Observation Memorandum na in-issue sa OVP against the OVP para dun sa mga confidential funds, and there was one for the DepEd. Kanina, as a manner of characterizing or describing yung paggastos ng confidential funds, trinay nitong si Attorney Kapunan na itawagin niya na scam. But of course, yun na pinalagan niya ng defense at sabi, strike it out, in-strike out naman ng korte. But she was successful in describing yung expenditure ng confidential funds in the following manner. Number 1, this is also based on the description sa JMC. Irregular, so yung paggamit ng confidential funds ni Vice President Duterte sa Office of the Vice President and DepEd confidential funds ay number 1, irregular, hindi pangkaraniwan, unnecessary, hindi kailangan, excessive, labis, extravagant o maluho o according to Attorney Kapunan, bongga kaday at unconscionable or kasuklam-suklam. So yan yung description, and later on, tingnan natin how the defense is going to attack yung testimony nitong si Attorney Wamil. Yeah.
Joseph, would you know kung expected na ng defense yung pagbanggit ni Attorney Wamil dun sa pagpupulong kung saan naroon daw si Attorney Michael Poa?
I think they anticipated in a way kasi alam naman nila yung nangyari, no? Si Attorney Poa yung involved doon, si Attorney Lopez is involved in September 2023 meeting. I'm sure they anticipated na the prosecution will go here. Pero ang meeting lang naman na yan ay doon sa pagtatanong, no, tinanong ni Attorney Lopez, and Attorney Poa na kasi nag-issue no yung AOM ng AOM yung COA. Sabi ni na Attorney Lopez and Attorney Poa, teka, pwede bang yung AOM gawin muna nating anong tawag nila diyan? Audit query. Ang sabi ng mga taga-COA, wala pong audit query dun sa JMC. So they issued nonetheless yung AOM, and after that, according to yun yung based nga dun sa pinag-usapan nyo rin na testimony kanina, ay naglabas ng updated na accomplishment report itong si DepEd. So basically, ang common dun sa mga documents ng OVP and DepEd ay pinirmahan yung mga disbursement vouchers. Ito yung mga cash advances. Ang ibig sabihin yan, pinapayagan ni Vice President Duterte na lumabas itong mga pera na ito at gamitin according to how they want it to be spent. And number 2, yung accomplishment reports, pinirmahan din nitong si Vice President Duterte yung mga accomplishment reports. Ibig sabihin, according to the prosecution yesterday, bottom line, alam ni Vice President Duterte kung ano yung dapat nangyari dun sa mga confidential funds na yan, Pia.
So ang expectation natin, Joseph, kapag bumalik tayo o kapag bumalik ang impeachment court from the recess, pagdating ng punto ng cross-examination, ang ipupunto nila, kailangan nilang patunay or kailangan nilang ipakita na walang mga irregularidad dun sa mga naisumite ng Office of the Vice President. Kasi ito yung punto ng prosecution, di ba, na parang ang dami nilang sinumite, nag-comply naman sila dun sa ibang records, pero yung mga sinubmit nila, hindi pa rin compliant dun sa actual guidelines based on the Joint Memorandum Circular.
Pia, remember, ang universe natin of receipts, or acknowledgement receipts at least, ay 3,000 plus 800. So that's nearly 4,000, 5,000 na mga resibo. Ngayon, ang nakita natin at pinalutang ng prosecution is a sampling of the acknowledgement reports. 6 yan. Sila Mary Grace Piato, sila Andy Lim. The defense may argue na tingnan natin yung ibang mga acknowledgement receipts. Baka naman malinis or proper yung documentation na yun. Kasi remember, na ang kinu-question ng COA is only 27, 29 million na acknowledgement receipts based of 125. So ang questionable, at least dun sa first tranche, 27 of 125. So baka ipakita ng defense na yung ibang expenditures ay proper yung paggamit. But of course, that will be just a matter of the strategy ng defense later on. But we will see later kung paano yung magiging atake nila. But ang pinaka-contention natin dito, Pia, yung 800 plus na documents. So, kumbaga, if we have the 3,000 plus documents, ang pinaglalabanan natin dito ay yung 845 na mga documents. And one of those includes yung supporting document na nagpakita na 125 million was spent in 11 days. So, ito yung kailangang lansagin ng, so to speak, ng defense na ang claim ng prosecution, you spent 125 million over 11 days. The defense will try to say na hindi yan. Baka may ibang explanation yung defense how that money was spent. Yeah.
Sabi mo, Joseph, di ba, parang 27 or to 29 million out of the 125 million yung nabanggit ng COA sa kanilang audit. Pero ang tanong, Joseph, is kailangan ba ng prosecution na patunayan na yung buong 125 million ay naging questionable yung pagkakagastos, or ma-prove lang na 27 or 29 million worth of that, or a small portion, any portion of that 125 million pesos was not disbursed properly? Would that be enough to impeach the Vice President?
And that may also be the question for the senator judges. Ngayon, ang example dito sa Article 4132, confidential funds ay gumamit o may questionable na paggamit ng 29 million. Yun ang pinakita ng prosecution. And for them, enough yun na para sabihin na this is a culpable violation of the Constitution, betrayal of public trust, graft and corruption. For them, that's enough. 27 million or 29 million of the 125. But of course, plus yung mga issue na hindi properly liquidated and all that, no? That may be the question for the senator judges now, whether this will be enough to convict or itong si Vice President Duterte and conclude that she's not fit to hold office. But I think, to answer your question, that is a question better addressed to probably the senator judges when the time comes na kailangan nilang timbangin ng mga ebidensya at magbigay ng hatol.
At yung sagot dyan, malalaman natin at the very end of all 4 articles of impeachment. Hindi ba, Joseph, dahil yun ang napag-usapan or napagkasunduan ng mga presiding judges na iisa-isahin bawat article of impeachment tapos hihintayin na matapos lahat bago sila bumoto?
That's maybe December. Pero tandaan din natin, Pia, na kahit makita natin na itong mga ebidensya na to, no, meron pang tinatawag yung court, sa rules ng Senate Impeachment Court, yung offer of evidence. So ibig sabihin, kahit nakita na natin ito sa dulo ng presentasyon ng prosecution, may tinatawag tayong offer of the evidence. Offer of evidence. Ibig sabihin, ito po yung mga ebidensya namin for Article 1. Ito pong mga acknowledgement receipts. Yan ay pwedeng palagan ng defense and sabihin hindi po dapat tanggapin yan. Kung anumang basis nila, pwede nilang sabihin yan. And the court may rule na i-exclude yan. But for now, ito yung mga testimony ng witnesses of the prosecution, Pia. But after pa, kung tutuloy tayo na 5 months, kasi meron din naman pwede namang i-abbreviate as experience would tell us during the corona impeachment na pwede mag-drop ng mga certain articles if they want. And if natingin nila ay na-establish na yung kanilang case against the Vice President.
Alright, depende syempre kung anong magiging assessment ng prosecution ng depensa, kung gaano sila kakumpiyansa sa tibay ng kanilang ebidensya at ng kanilang mga argumento. Previously, Joseph, nakita natin na hindi na nag-cross-examine nung nakaraang linggo, no, doon sa mga land bank officials ang depensa. Pero as expected, ngayon talagang bubuin nila, kukumpletuhin nila at gagamitin ng husto ang kanilang cross-examination. May posibilidad ba, Joseph, sa tingin mo na matapos sa araw na ito ang cross-examination? Or tingin mo, kasi 1:15 sila magre-resume, tapos dapat bago mag-alas 3 tapos na sila. So tingin mo, tutuloy pa hanggang bukas yung cross-examination?
Number 1, nakikita na natin unti-unti pumapasok yung mga senador. Number 2, nakausap natin si Attorney Michael Bawa, magkukross sila. As to the length, sa question mo, ay baka tumawid na tayo ng bukas for the cross-examination ng defense. Kasi medyo voluminous documents. If you just focus on the 845 na mga acknowledgement receipts, imagine mo na lang kung bubusisiin nila isa-isa yan. Or at least yung 6 na pinasok ng prosecution na allegedly fictitious names. Kung lalabanan at gigibain ng defense yan, medyo matatagalan tayo sa cross, Pia.
Alright, Joseph, gaya na sinabi mo, uti-uti na sila pumapasok. Makikibalita ulit kami sa iyo mamaya. Joseph Morong, live po sa Senado. Maraming salamat, Joseph. At kasama pa rin po natin si Professor Michael Tew Jr. Professor Tew, any minute now, mag-uumpisa na ulit ang ating impeachment hearing. Pero just one very quick question lamang po. No? Gaya po ng tinanong ko kay Joseph, sa tingin niyo po, Professor Tew, paano nga ba dapat i-appreciate ng mga presiding judge yung mga ebidensyang ipinipresenta? Halimbawa, kasi nga 27 to 29 million pesos out of the 125 million pa lamang, no, of the first tranche. Ang sinasabi ng COA na questionable. Kapag ba ikaw ay titingin sa kaso ito, kailangan ba ma-prove na yung buong 125 million ay questionable or yung 27 or just one portion is enough already to prove that there was culpable violation of the law or betrayal of public trust?
You know what, actually, Pia, from the point of view of the citizen, 1 peso is already too much, no? But we understand na malalaking amounts ang involved dito. And that's the reason why sampling lang siya. Kasi ang pinapakita mo naman dito ay may pattern or merong propensity na gamitin sa hindi nararapat o sa naaayon yung pera. So, in other words, kung napakita ng prosecution na posible ito for these amounts and for these transactions, it is highly likely na ito din yung nangyari sa iba. But even if hindi natin makita yung iba, even just these amounts, wala namang threshold eh. Hindi naman natin pinag-uusapan kung may kailangan kang marating na amount to show na impeachable siya. The point is, may ginamit mo, unang-una nagkaroon ka ng confidential funds when hindi ka national security related agency. Pangalawa, okay, nabigyan ka na ng funds na yan, saan mo ba ginamit yan? Hindi mo mapaliwanag ngayon ng maayos kung saan dumating o pinagamitan ang pera na iyan. So babalik tayo doon sa, well, kung hindi mo mapaliwanag, chances are nagamit yan for some other personal private gain.
So I guess this
So
would
I
be...
think ganoon nila.
And I guess, Professor Tuy, this would be a good time to remember na may pagkakaiba ang impeachment court sa regular court. So may pagkakaiba rin pagdating sa bigat ng ebidensya, yung appreciation rin ng ebidensya na ipinipresenta. Tama po ba?
That's correct. And in particular, iba yung pinag-uusapin nga natin yung ground, for example, ng betrayal of public trust. Kaya ako nasabi kanina na kahit nga piso lang yan, pera yan ng taong bayan, no? Pera yan ng Pilipinas. And so, dapat bawat piso accounted for, na i-explain mo saan mo ginamit, no? So, kapag pinag-uusapan natin ng betrayal of public trust, ano ba yung bagay na nakakapag-betray doon sa tiwala na ibinigay sa iyo ng publiko? Hindi naman amount yun eh. Hindi naman yun quantity. It's really na binilagay ka sa posisyon, may expectation, in fact, may requirement ang batas sa iyo na gamitin mo ng maingat ang pera na ipinagkatiwala sa iyo because of your position. At kung hindi mo yun nagawa, then nabitray mo yung tiwala na iyon ay pinagkaloob sa iyo ng taong bayan.
Professor Tuy, sa tingin niyo, ano po ba ang dapat nating abangan dito sa cross-examination ng depensa?
Yes, so I think gaya na nabanggit ko kanina, magpapresenta sila ng iba't ibang scenario, no? Posible na hindi lang naman kasi yung ending nga ng prosecution ay, well, kung hindi ma-explain, ang presumption dyan ay private gain, no? Posible din hindi yon yung kahinatnan ng meron.
State auditor, tama po ba?
Yes, sir.
And you are a certified public accountant, tama po ba?
Yes, sir.
You're also a lawyer, correct?
Yes, sir.
You passed the bar in 2022?
2023 po.
2023. Okay, I stand corrected. And Mr. Wamil, you also testified yesterday during your direct examination that you were part of the team that audited the OVP and DepEd confidential funds. Is that correct?
Hindi po team kasi ako lang po yung nag-evaluate ng documents.
Ikaw mismo, basically nag-evaluate ng documents. Tama po ba?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, just so maintindihan lang namin how ICFAO conducts its audit. Yung mga auditors po ba, do they go to the field and observe itong mga confidential operations in person or?
Since what we do po is compliance audit, we base our audit on the documents being submitted to the ICFAO.
Okay. And do you get special training as auditors pagdating sa how confidential or intelligence operations are conducted?
We base po our observations on the provisions naman po ng Joint Circular 2015-01.
Okay. So, basically what you're saying is you base your audit on the documents submitted to you, not just by DepEd or OVP, but by any other government agency. Ganyan sa ICFAO.
Based on the documents if they are compliant with the requirements of the Joint Circular 2015-01.
Correct. Thank you. So, pagdating po dun sa mga dokumento na natatanggap nyo from OVP and DepEd, binabasa nyo po to isa-isa, no? Lahat ng attachments?
Hindi po ako yung nag-receive noon. Meron po kaming receiving staff po.
Pero kayo po, in your evaluation, do you go through the documents one by one?
Yes po. I evaluate po if they are compliant with the requirements of the Joint Circular.
Okay. Now, when you evaluated these documents, nakita niyo po ba doon kung sino ang nag-approve ng grant ng confidential funds for OVP for the fourth quarter of 2022?
Nakita ko po dun sa disbursement voucher po na si Asek Limuel G. Ortonio po.
No, I mean the grant. Kasi wala po sa GAA yung OVP confidential funds for 2022 eh. So nakita niyo po ba kung sino ang nag-approve ng grant para sa fourth quarter 2022 confidential funds?
Based on the documents submitted, si Office of the President po yung nag-approve.
That's correct, Office of the President. Pagdating naman po sa OVP 2023 confidential funds, yun po ay nasa General Appropriations Act. Do you confirm that?
Yes po.
And pagdating naman po sa DepEd 2023 confidential funds, nasa General Appropriations Act din po. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
And as a lawyer, you would know that the GAA is enacted by Congress. Tama po ba?
That's correct.
Now, yesterday, naalala ko po, natanong kayo doon sa time nyo sa ICFAO kung ilang vice president ang na-audit nyo pagdating sa confidential funds. Alala niyo po yon?
Yes po, sir.
At ang sagot niyo po ay isa lang, si Vice President Sara Duterte, the respondent in this case. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
Tapos
Since I
natin-
assumed in ICPAO in
Since-
2014.
Since you assumed in September 2014?
Yes po, sir.
Tama po. And you were asked, bakit si Vice President lang? Naalala niyo yung tanong na yun?
Yes po.
At ang sagot niyo po, kasi since you assumed siya lang po ang Vice President na nagkaroon ng appropriations for confidential funds. Tama po ba?
Yes po. Since September 2014 po na nag-assume ako.
Apo. Now, I'm showing you a document. If I may approach the witness, Your Honor.
Counsel may approach.
I am showing you a document
Assisting
entitled...
counsel from the
Spec-
prosecutors may also
Oh, yes.
approach should they so desire.
I'm showing you a document, and this document is from the Department of Budget and Management, entitled Special Allotment Release Order, dated. Medyo malabo lang po yung document, no? December 22, 2014. Makita niyo po yan? At ang purpose po is to cover confidential activities for fiscal year 2014. You see that?
Yes, sir.
And nung December 22, 2014, nasa ICFAO na po kayo. Tama po ba?
Anong period po yan, sir?
We have a clear here po. Date of issue, December 22, 2014.
Yes po, nasa ICPAO na po.
Tama po ba? At hindi po si Vice President Sara Duterte ang Vice President ng mga panahon na yun. Tama po ba?
Yes po. Pero na-liquidate po ba yan? That's the question.
That's the question to ICFAO actually because yun po yung, ang pinapakita ko lang sa inyo is nagkaroon po ng confidential funds ang Office of the Vice President noong 2014 issued December 22, 2014.
Based on that document po,
Meron.
Meron.
You confirm. But that's okay, no? Because maybe you were just not aware yesterday when you were asked the question. I just wanted to put that on record because marami na rin pong lumalabas sa social media na si Vice President Sara Duterte lang ang Vice President na nagkaroon ng confidential funds. But you confirm that, sir. Your Honors, just a manifestation, this has not been pre-marked. We just came upon this document yesterday after the statements were made. So upon the agreement made during pre-trial, we request that this be marked as exhibit for the defense D-167-DE. -OVP.
Let it be so marked.
Thank you, Your Honors.
Provisional only, Your Honor.
Yes, of course, subject to the objections of the prosecution when the time is
Of course, at
appropriate.
the proper time.
Thank you, Your Honor. And we will provide the prosecution with a copy as well.
Kindly do that after, perhaps later on, after the trial, or now too, so that it can be made a subject matter of redirect should the counsel for the panel of prosecutors
Medyo
so
malabo.
desire.
I can give you
Photocopy.
just a photo. We would like to manifest that this is just a printout, Your Honor, and a photocopy that we retrieved from the Office of the Vice President.
Noted.
Okay. Ito, bibigyan ba natin ito? Okay, hindi na. Okay. Anyway, Mr. Witness, nung pinag-aaralan ko yung nature ng confidential funds, may mga issuances akong nakita aside from yung JC 2015-01 na parating yung nami-mention kahapon and today. And that is COA Circular 92-985. Yun po ba ay familiar sa inyo?
can you repeat?
I can give you a copy. Your Honor, I am giving the witness a copy of a document entitled Commission on Audit Circular Number 92-385 dated October 21, 1992. For the reference of the court, this was marked as Exhibit D-1-155. Naalala po ba ninyo yung document na yan or familiar po ba kayo sa document na yan? Witness is perusing the document, Your Honors.
Noted.
If assisting counsel would like to also from the prosecution.
Witness will please answer. Are you,
Are you familiar?
with that document?
I am not familiar po with that document.
Okay. That's okay. Meron lang po ditong whereas clauses. I won't ask you about the entire document anyway. Meron lang po ditong whereas clauses on the first page. Can you see that, Mr. Witness? Whereas clauses. I would just want you to read the fourth whereas clause. Ito pa. Ma'am, you want to come here so you'd have a better view? Just the fourth whereas clause. Can you please read that out loud for the record?
Attorney Capunan, it's also flashed on the screen.
Para mahirap.
Whereas these intelligence and confidential activities by their very nature are highly sensitive and confidential operations or missions, the details of which cannot be divulged without posing a threat to national security or to the success of the mission.
Can you please read the next whereas as well? Thank you.
Whereas, as now being required, the submission of receipts, bills, or commercial invoices in support of disbursements from this fund or rental or of safe houses, purchase of meals or supplies, and other expenses may create a leak of information that may threaten the confidentiality of the intelligence operations, endanger the lives and the safety of the agents and employees of the government agencies, and result to a failure of the mission.
And just the next two whereas clauses na lang po para hindi na po tayo humaba.
Whereas in many instances, it is impractical and sometimes impossible to obtain such receipts, bills, or commercial invoices during intelligence operations. Whereas by its very nature, the use of confidential and/or intelligence and/or confidential funds requires an approach allowing more flexibility in intelligence operations.
Thank you, Mr. Witness.
Manifestation, Your Honor. First of all, this exhibit presented by counsel for the respondent is dated October 1, 1992, Your Honor. Whereas the joint circular cited as basis by this witness, Your Honor, is dated 2015, Your Honor. There is no indication here. Okay. There is an indication here, Your Honor, that all issuances
Joint circular. Repeating
inconsistent
clause.
herewith are hereby amended or revoked accordingly. Similar provision, Your Honor, by way of manifestation.
The joint circular.
Can I see? Is likewise Your Honor, mentioned in the Joint Circular 2015. Observation for the record that 2015 supersedes this circular cited by counsel for respondent, which is dated 1992, Your Honor. For the record.
Noted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Proceed.
But again, we'd like just a counter manifestation that the repealing clause under JC 2015-01 states, and I quote, all circulars, memoranda, rules, regulations, and other issuance inconsistent herewith are deemed repealed and superseded accordingly.
So the repealing clause in 2015-1 did not specify COA Circular 92-8985.
Precisely our point, Your Honor.
Your Honor, please counter manifestation.
Of course, Counsel.
Counsel read the literal meaning, Your Honor, but the substantive meaning is all circulars are deemed repealed and superseded accordingly. His interpretation, my interpretation, but no interpretation needed, Your Honor. 9.0 is expressed. All are repealed and superseded accordingly.
Manifestation is duly noted.
Take Your
Counsel may
Honor,
proceed.
Your Honor, the documents would speak for themselves,
Exactly.
and we will leave this to the Honorable Court, as to not prolong the debate on this matter.
Just again, just my last manifestation on this. The difference between Joint Circular 2015, Your Honor, it has been identified, authenticated, and testified to by this witness. This circular that they are citing, Your Honor, 1992, has not been identified. We don't know its due existence. We don't know the circumstances surrounding this document, and therefore they're covered by the original document rule. Produce the original, since you don't have a witness who has testified as to its existence, due execution, and least of all, its contents, Your Honor. And we are stating that this should be clearly in the records of this proceedings, Your Honor.
Noted without prejudice to respondent presenting during their evidence in chief the original copy of the document and someone testifying thereto.
We submit, Your Honor.
Please proceed, counsel.
Now, dun base po sa binasa nyo, Mr. Witness, nakikita natin na magkaiba ang auditing standards or guidelines pagdating sa confidential or intelligence funds kung ikukumpara sa regular funds. Tama po yun.
Well, based on the Joint Circular 2015-01, magkaiba po yung treatment between confidential fund and intelligence fund.
Opo. At base rin po doon, sa binasa nyo, ang kadalasan nangyayari pag resibo o invoices ay maaring maging impractical kung yun ang ire-require. Tama po ba?
Under the Joint Circular po kasi, the auditors may require the...
Your Honor, that's not responsive. I was just asking him to confirm what he read.
Kindly answer the question, witness.
Just on the circular that you read, Circular 92-3.
Can you repeat the question po, sir?
Ayon po doon, yung regular requirement na paghihingi ng mga resibo, acknowledgement receipts, may be impractical pagdating po sa confidential operations.
Can we ask counsel, Your Honor, to show that particular
Yes, Your
provision that he is citing in respect of the circular?
Kindly do so, counsel.
Tama po ba?
Ang sabi po dito ay during intelligence operations.
Yes, tama po ba?
As stated po dito, during intelligence operations.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I'll accept that answer, Your Honor. Now, punta naman po tayo doon sa nature ng confidential operations. No? You would agree with me na pagdating po sa confidential operations, delikado po pag nagkakaroon ng leak of information. Tama po ba?
Can you repeat your question?
Delikado po kung magkaroon ng leak ng mga information na nakukuha patay sa isang confidential operation. Tama
Given the
po ba?
classified nature of...
Misleading, Your Honor.
I'm just asking for his opinion.
The witness would have been able to answer. Witness may answer.
Given the classified nature
Yes.
of the confidential fund.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Witness. In fact, you being a lawyer, you know that there are laws prohibiting the unauthorized disclosure of confidential information, correct?
Can you repeat po?
You being a lawyer, sir, you are aware that there are laws prohibiting the unauthorized disclosure of confidential information, correct?
Can you state what specific laws po yung...
Revised Penal Code under Article 229, for example, on the revelation of secrets.
Yes po.
Yes, Republic Act 3019, Section 3, Paragraph K, on unauthorized divulging of confidential information, correct?
Yes po.
And you being a public officer under 6713, alam niyo rin po na hindi po pwedeng basta-basta mag-disclose without the authority ng mga confidential information. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
Okay, so batay po dito, pinapahalagan po talaga ang confidentiality pagdating sa mga classified information na ito. Tama po ba? You would agree with me?
Yes po.
Yes. Now, let's go to the joint circular that we have been mentioning since yesterday. No? Ito pong Joint Circular number 2015-01. And I'm referring to the circular with which we have pre-marked as D-1-136 for the defense, Your Honors. And I think we will be flashing that on the screen as well. Ito naman po yung pag-usapan natin. I just wanted you, Mr. Witness, to give us the definition of confidential funds. Diyan po sa circular na yan, under, I think it's page 2, item 3.7. Can you please read it for the record?
Under 3.7, confidential fund refers to the lump sum amount provided as such in the GAA for NGAs, in appropriation ordinances for LGUs, and in the COBs for GOCCs for their confidential expenses.
Salamat po, Mr. Witness. At pagdating po, nabasa niyo po yung word na lump sum. Ibig po sabihin nito, buong halaga, buong amount, as opposed to having line items for expense. Tama po ba?
Lump sum. Yes
Lump
po.
sum. Opo. At based on your experience, pag ang pinag-uusapan po natin ay confidential funds, pagdating po sa pag-disburse nito, cash po ba ito? In the form of cash?
What expense are you pertaining?
Confidential funds in general. Cash po ba ito?
Wala pong specific provision kung anong type po ng yung ibabayad.
Okay. But item 6 provides for the guidelines on cash advances, correct?
Based on this document po, yes po.
Yes po. And I refer you now to item 6.1.2. Diyan po, sinasabi po ng provision na yan na ang maari lang mag-avail ng cash advance pagdating sa confidential funds ay ang isang designated bonded special disbursing officer or SDO, or kung wala mang ganong designated SDO ay ang head of agency. Correct?
Yes po.
At kanina po, sabi nyo, binasa nyo bawat pahina noong mga sinabite sa inyo ng DepEd at OVP for their liquidation reports. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
At you would be aware na ang STO po para po sa OVP ay si Ms. Gina Acosta. Tama po ba?
Based on the documents submitted, yes po.
Yes, thank you. At pagdating naman po sa DepEd, Mr. Witness, ang SDO po ay si Mr. Edward Fajarda. Tama po ba?
Based on the documents submitted po, yes po.
Yes. So based on that, tama rin po ba na sila ang maging payees ng mga cheque na inilabas ng DepEd para sa cash advance?
Yes po.
Tama po. At sila, tama rin po na silang nag-encash ng mga cheque dahil silang payee. Tama
Yes
po?
po. Yes po.
Yes. So they complied with 6.1.2, correct?
What do you mean complied po?
Complied with the requirements of 6.1.2 na ang SDO po ang kumuha ng cash advance at siya po nag-encash ng cheque.
Your Honor, please misleading. That's not the only requirement in 6.1.1. 6.1.2, Your Honor. There are other requirements here. Can counsel be specific?
I'm just asking,
Because
Your Honor.
this is a blanket he is saying, and so therefore, there is compliance here.
I'm
in
asking-
particular.
Thank you. I appreciate po
What does
the...
counsel for respondents say?
I appreciate naman po the objection of the good counsel. So I will be more specific. Tama po, nag-comply po ng SDO ang payee sa cheque at ang SDO po ang nag-encash. Yun lang po. Just on that part.
Based on the documents, si SDO yung pay ng cheque and yung nag-encash nung
Okay. Thank you po. Now, I'll refer you to item 6.1.5 of the joint circular. Can you please read just the first sentence of that provision?
cash advances shall be limited to the requirements for 3 months.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. So tama po ba ang pagkakaintindi ko na para sa cash advance at any one time, ang maximum na pwede mo lang ma-cash advance ay yung requirements mo para sa 3 buwan ng confidential operations. Tama
Based
po ba?
on this provision po, yes.
Tama po. At 3 buwan po is equivalent to 1/4 of a year. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
Okay. Now, base po dyan sa provision na yan, nakasulat na ang maximum amount ay para sa 3 buwan. Pero meron po bang provision dyan na nagbabawal na gamitin ito in perhaps 60 days?
Wala po.
Meron po bang nagbabawal na gamitin ito in 11 days?
Wala din po. Kaya hindi po namin sinama sa findings namin yung 11 days na disbursement. It's just a statement of fact po on the AOM.
Thank you for confirming that, Mr. Witness. Familiar po kayo bilang isang CPA sa accrual method of accounting?
Yes po.
Can you just, in simple terms, because I'm not even a CPA, just give us a glimpse kung ano ibig sabihin. Ano ba ang accrual method of accounting?
Kapag sinabing accrual method of accounting, yung expenses ay ni-record upon incurrence, not upon payment.
Opo. Okay. So, dito po ba, pwede po ba yung parang I'm just a simple-minded person? Parang buy now, pay later? Ganon?
Wala po yan sa joint circular, so I am not authorized to
It's okay.
answer that question.
I will leave it at that. Punta na lang po tayo sa liquidation. Sa liquidation po, under the joint circular, that's under 6.2.2, correct? Under 6.2.2, if I may just refer you to that provision, dapat po maliquidate magsumite ng liquidation report ang isang agency na may confidential or intelligence funds within 30 days after the close of a quarter. Tama po ba?
Tatlo po yung nakalagay dito, hindi lang po the 30 days after every quarter.
Sige po, please enumerate for us.
Under 6.2.2 of the joint circular, all cash advances for CF and IF shall be liquidated within 30 days after every quarter or from the approved target date of completion of the project or activity or after the cash advance had been fully utilized, whichever comes first in accordance with the procedures as stated po.
Okay, thank you po. Ngayon po, papakita ko po sa inyo yung liquidation report na isinumite ng OVP for their fourth quarter confidential funds 2022. Maybe this time we could just ask our assisting counsel, Your Honor, to hand the document.
Assisting counsel for the other side may also
Prosecution.
approach.
Maaari niyo po bang matukoy kung anong date po na-receive ng COA ICFAO itong liquidation report ng OVP?
Based on the transmittal letter po, January 17, 2023.
January
May we
17.
know, Your Honor, for our understanding, what exhibit number?
Sorry.
counsel
Thank you for
referring to?
reminding me, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
This is Exhibit D-1-4-OVP.
This is the prosecution's P-1-11-A. No, I'm sorry.
One?
I'm sorry, what is it?
Sorry,
D-1
D-1-1. Sorry, Your Honor.
dash 1.
I was just corrected.
Counsel,
Your
may
Honor,
proceed.
for the record, this is not a common exhibit, Your Honor.
Duly noted.
Now, base po sa date na nabasa nyo, compliant po ba na within the 30-day period ay nakapagsumite sila? Yung act lang po ng pag-submission, na pag-submit rather, ng liquidation report.
Based on this document po, yes po.
Yes po. And kung mapapansin nyo po, doon po sa transmittal, meron pong isang checklist. Tama po ba?
Yes, sir.
And I will refer you now to item 6.2.2.3 of the joint circular. Ayon po sa 6.2.3 ng nasabing joint circular 2015-01, ang gagawin po ng receiving officer ng COA ICFAO ay titingnan po yung checklist, tapos susuriin po yung mga dokumentong isinumite ng ahensya, yung mga attachments, kung pasok siya doon sa checklist of supporting documents na kinakailangan. Tama po ba?
Can you repeat your question po?
Ayon po sa 6.2.2.3, ang receiving officer ng COA ICFAO ay titingnan yung checklist and then titingnan din, susuriin yung mga naka-attach na dokumento kung compliant siya dun sa checklist. Tama po ba?
Yes po, based on the joint circular.
Based on that same provision, kung yun po ay kompleto, tatanggapin po ng COA ICFAO. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
At pag hindi po kompleto o meaning kulang po yung mga attached documents, yun po ay dapat ibalik ng COA ICFAO sa ahensya at hindi muna tatanggapin. Tama po ba?
Yes po. Based
And
on
in-
this provision po.
Opo. And in this case, because of the receiving stamp, would you say na tinanggap po ng ICFAO ang submission ng OVP?
As stamp po nung ICFAO, yes po.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Witness. Now, basing on this document na natanggap ng COA ICFAO on January 17, 2023, ang kanilang liquidation report, meaning the OVP for the fourth quarter 2022 confidential funds, it took more or less 8 months for COA to issue its official finding. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
I am showing you a copy of the AOMs that you issued and that were also presented yesterday.
May we know the exhibit number, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. I will get to that. Ready mo na yung mga next documents.
Are you showing the one for the OVP or the DepEd? Counsel?
OVP, Your Honor.
OVP, that would be...
This is D-1-103-OVP, Your Honor, for the first AOM issued on September 14, 2023.
That's the counterpart of P-1-12-A.
And isunod ko na po yung pangalawang AOM na na-issue on October 3, 2023. This is D-1-104-OVP for the defense.
Which is P-1-12-B for the prosecution.
Opo. Thank you. Now, Mr. Witness, napansin ko na yung date is September 14, nung 2023, nung una yung AOM. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
And that was actually just a few days after the budget hearing of COA held August 24, 2023, kung saan may mga legislators that, asked COA to look into the OVP confidential funds. Are you aware of that? Just if you're aware.
I am not aware of that.
That's okay. Now, I'll just move on to the AOMs themselves. No? Now, kahapon, nasasabi niyo po na nagkakaproblema tayo sa... May nakita kayong finding doon sa physical and financial plan. Tama po ba?
Yes, sir.
Ng OVP. At yan po ay nakasaad din sa inyong findings dyan.
Yes, sir.
Tama po ba?
Opo.
You referred to, if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, item 4.2 of the joint circular.
Yes, sir.
Tama po?
Yes, sir.
Maaari niyo po bang, andyan pa po ba yung joint circular? Yes. Maaari niyo po bang basahin yung 4.2 ng joint circular para lang po sa kalaman nating lahat?
Under 4.2 of the joint circular, all allocations of CF and or IF shall be supported with physical and financial plan indicating the proposed amount allocated for each program, project, and activity where disbursements pertaining to the CE and IE shall be based.
Tama po. Thank you po, Mr. Witness. Dito po, sa kanilang physical and financial plan, the program stated is actually the Good Government Program. Tama po ba? Yung binabasa ko lang.
Based on the document, yes.
Based on the document. At ang expected outcome ay safe implementation of OVP initiatives and confidence building. Based on the document.
Based on the document, yes.
At ang physical target will be number of areas with surveillance and confidential activities conducted or monitored. Tama po ba?
Yes.
As well as the number of activities. Tama po ba? At ayon po dun sa binasa nyo, wala naman pong guidelines on how specific it would be. Correct?
Well, nakalagay po kasi dito, dapat i-indicate yung each program, activity, and project na pagbabasihan ng disbursement ng CF.
Apo. I won't argue with you. So basically, yung finding niyo po is based on your assessment as an auditor.
Well, since it is a plan, dapat po naka-indicate talaga dito kung paano nila gagastusin yung kanilang confidential fund.
That's okay. Yes, I'll accept that answer. Now, nabanggit niyo rin po na hindi po nag-submit ng DEPs or document evidencing payment. Tama po?
Yes, sir.
At yun po ay inilagay nyo sa inyong AOM. Tama
Yes,
po?
yes, sir.
At nabanggit nyo rin po na sumagot ang OVP dito sa AOM na to. Tama po ba?
Yes, sir. Opo.
Tama po. At pagdating po doon sa sunod na step, which is the notice of suspension, tama po ba?
Yes, sir.
Would you agree with me
Section.
na hindi na po na-carry over yung issue doon sa physical and financial plan?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, ibig sabihin, tinanggap nyo po yung explanation.
Well, ang purpose po kasi namin kung bakit namin ni-require yung specific confidential activities dun sa PFP is para makita kung paano gagastusin noong OBP yung kanilang confidential fund. Pero since nilagay naman na po nila doon sa kanilang revised accomplishment report yung specific confidential activities and even submitted the documentary evidence of payment. So hindi na po namin hinanap ulit yung fiscal and financial plan.
Okay. Salamat po. Thank you for that answer. Ngayon po, kasi kanina, kahapon actually, not kanina, sinasabi nyo walang sinubmit. Ang ibig nyo lang pong sabihin sa walang sinubmit is at the time na bago kayo mag-issue ng AOM. Tama po ba?
Walang sinamit po na ano.
Walang sinubmit na DEPs, for example.
Yes po, kasi sinamit po nila yung DEPs after we issued both AOMs po.